All right, well, we are right in the heart of it, right? We obviously just had our first NFL preseason game for the black and gold, and it was pretty cool to watch. But more importantly, for those of you that might be wanting to attend the upcoming ones, today's show is brought to you by my good friends over at SeatGeek. Yes, the top rated ticketing app. I mean, with over 28 million downloads and over 70,000 different sporting events available. This is the cool part about the app. The thing that I like is this: I can click on upcoming games, right? We got one coming up this weekend right here in Pittsburgh, right? And it tells me all the different seats, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what's a good seat, and how it's rated and things like that. I mean, it's pretty daggone cool. But more importantly, if I'm going to talk to you about anybody, I'm talking about them for a reason, because I got something for you, ladies and gents. And that is the promo code, man. If you use the promo code Moats, you'll get $20 off your first purchase when you're using SeatGeek. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you go to the description, right, whether you're looking at the pinned comment or the description on the video, click that link right there to take you already over there, have the promo code uploaded, and now whether you're looking for NFL, MLB, collegiate games, you name it, you'll have it available to you, baby. But like I said, man, definitely enjoy yourself, and you already know it's time to get back to regularly scheduled programming. Let's get this thing started the way that we always do. It's time to recap the game because we did have action, man. Steelers taking care of business. First preseason opportunity, winning 31-25 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars down in Jacksonville. So let's start it off. You know the drill, like it one time. But lot to unpack, man. A lot that took place on Saturday night that I thought were positives, regardless of how much stock we want to put into what we saw that was good or what we saw that might not have been good. I still think at just surface level, it is important to identify what stood out. I think it's important to acknowledge the positive things that took place in stadium, regardless of how much we want to downplay it as this is routine or mundane or is preseason, so it doesn't matter. It does matter. And I'm speaking from experience in the sense that no different than when you're starting off on a journey, on a road trip, right? You want to go from New York down to Florida. Well, you don't start off in Florida as soon as you take off from New York. Nah, you're going to have to work your way down a little bit. Okay, you get through one state, great. All right, we just getting started, but we made it through that first state unscathed, right? We ain't getting flat tires, didn't run out of gas. Everybody was good. Nobody's tummy started acting up in the car, right? This is a positive. Then you get to the next state. In the next state, and before you know it, you look up, you're like, well, dang, bro, we down in Georgia now. How we get here? And before you know it, now you got a chance to actually complete the journey, but you have to start somewhere. And to me, this was a awesome start. And the reason why I say awesome is this: did anyone get hurt? Hello. Now, granted, we did have an injury, Cameron McCutcheon, and it's unfortunate. We will talk about, the transactions surrounding that. But as a whole, we were able to get out of that stadium unscathed, with all of our quote unquote on paper starters still being healthy for week one. That is a massive positive, man, because we know a year ago that wasn't the case. And when you look back over the past couple of seasons, whether we're talking specifically on offense or specifically on defense, we know that, yeah, we've come into some of these seasons at the early portion leaking oil at main positions. We talk about last year, no Russell Wilson for the first 6 weeks. And we know that was the guy that, from Coach Tomlin's perspective, that's who he wanted as the guy. So, and when I first look at that and I say, okay, cool, no injuries, love that, positive. Next thing I say is, visually, did we look like we knew what we was doing? Right before we even talk X's and O's, was it vanilla scheme? Was it a serious scheme? And all the other things associated with it, just at the simple root of it. Did the guys look varsity? Did they look like they knew how to get in and out the huddle? Were we getting called for 12 men on the field? Or were we playing snaps with 10 guys on the field? Things that we associate with low-level high school JV type things, right? You know your job. Be on the field when it's your personnel, because we said we're professionals. So from my perspective, I thought that also looked clean. It looked like the dudes were professional. And that is not an easy thing to do when you have 90 guys on the roster. Some guys just getting signed that week. Some dudes literally the day before, right? So with that, once again, I like the fact that we were clean, right? So from there, it's like, okay, well, what else stood out to me, man? Some of the other things that stood out, man, before I get to specific personnel or specific players, right? Because I'm going to talk about some of them dudes on offense, some of the guys on defense, and specifically some of the guys that to the game we did the preview was kind of like, yo, I want to see what these guys do. We'll go back and recap those dudes also. But to me, man, when I'm looking, I'm like, all right, offensively, I kind of like this game. It was still a basic version of it, but you could see the foundational principles of what Arthur Smith is at least trying to implement from an identity standpoint. And the reason why I say that is when you get to your twos and your threes, you're running what your day one installs are. Right, you're not going to get into too much exotic, too much situational stuff, or too much stuff that you want to use in the season. But you still have to call plays. You don't get to just come out there and have a brand new playbook for in season versus preseason. That's not how it works. So you're seeing the base foundation. And what we knew or what we were able to identify is 12, 13 personnel likes to run that ball, but more importantly, the play action pass for the deep shots. We saw that literally the first play, right? Mason Rudolph to Roman Wilson, play action pass deep in, beautiful completion, right? Explosive play right out the gate. Those are some of the things just from a mentality standpoint. I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, I can see where Arthur Smith is trying to implement certain things. And I can also see the comfort level that Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson were able to display in the game on Saturday. I thought both of those guys specifically had a command of the offense, and it looked like they were in, they were in concert, or at least had the same type of mindset as Arthur Smith. And I think that that's also going to be important as, Aaron Rodgers develops. But more importantly, if Aaron Rodgers were to go down for any reason, for any amount of time, you still want to feel confident that schematically we're not going to we shouldn't see some big drastic change, because all three of these dudes quarterback style wise are still on a similar playing field, right? In terms of being more pass first. So I did like that. And I thought as a whole, with the play calling, just to get back on Arthur Smith a little bit, I thought that it was a little bit unrhythmic, which is refreshing. We talk about it at times, man, in the past couple of years where we knew we were going to see the same calls in certain situations, and it just became almost, like mundane. Like all of us could point to it and say, yo, we know this play is coming right here. We know it's about to happen. I thought that wasn't necessarily the case, even with it being a vanilla play call or play sheet that night. I still thought he did a good job of just having the feel for call this right here, call that right there. All right, we're going to switch it up to this right here. So, like I said, man, that was what I liked, at least from a overarching schematic standpoint, from an offense standpoint. And I thought that was important, man. Defensively, you're running cover three. You're going to get one blitz with a fire zone behind it, couple of man, but nothing, crazy or earth-shattering. First preseason game, especially in Pittsburgh, is always, I want to just see man on man, offensively, defense, and special teams. You're not going to see a ton of games. You're not going to see a ton of schematic stuff to get guys open. It's can you win a one-on-one? Because if you can win one-on-ones, well, now, okay, we can feel more confident that we don't just have to utilize you in schemes. We can actually utilize you as a standalone. And that's when we look at DK Metcalf and we say, that's a standalone guy. He doesn't need to be schemed open. He can just win. Roman Wilson shows some flashes, right? Scotty Miller shows some flashes. Now, granted, these are smaller guys and dudes that we're looking to say, okay, if we don't have that bona fide number two on paper, how do we, offset that production when it's not just tight end related, where you're going to look at the Scotty Millers, the Roman Wilsons, the Calvin Austins of the world to see if they can give you a little bit more. So those are some of the things that, like I said, I was really liking, just in the sense of information that we were gaining. Now, in terms of some of the specifics, right? Because to me, man, and actually, before I get to the specific players, man, I also want to talk just big picture defense wise. I thought big picture defense wise, dudes were straight, man. I thought that for it to be the vanilla calls like it was, you want to see tackling. You want to see guys making tackles specifically on the sideline. That alley right between numbers and hash. We talked about it, me and TG, right, on Thursday show. Are you making those tackles? How consistent are you doing it? Run fits. Are guys just running free, explosive plays? Are guys running free in the secondary because we're getting blown calls? I didn't see a lot of that. So to me, the way I process that information, I say that lets me know that the messaging from Terrell Austin down to the group, and not just the starters, the depth guys, number twos and number threes, that message is still being consistent and is still resonating with those guys, to the point that, yes, we're not saying that they were world beaters, but they weren't beating themselves. And sometimes, as we've seen in stadium or in season, yeah, if you could just not beat yourself, that's going to put you in a lot of games, man. It's going to give you a lot of opportunities. All right. So those are some of the things that, like I said, man, just big picture wise stood out. Big picture wise, I liked. And then obviously in special teams, no turnovers. We did have a penalty though. So unfortunately, that is one of them knocks, man. When we're like, just for special teams, it hits a little bit different because a penalty there, man, what that does in terms of where you start your field position, it's a little bit more impactful at times. So that's the only thing that, like I said, man, gave me a little bit of come on, baby, we could be better there. But did like the fact we had an explosive return. Granted, it got called back, but we did have an explosive return out of that, man. So, like I said, man, that was the big picture part of it, right? But now let's get ready to talk about some of the dudes specifically that stood out to me. And like I said, man, if y'all are enjoying what we are on today, the non-Sunday morning vibe, right? For my afternoon folk, yeah, hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel. But I say definitely enjoying how we get a chance to recap some actual ball that was played, man. All right, it's been too long. It's been way too long. And it's black and gold ball on top of that, man. So I love that even more. But when we were coming into this game, man, some of the guys that, you know, when we watched it, some of the dudes that stood out to me just off the top of my head, obviously the quarterback play, man. Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, regardless of how we want to either promote it or minimize it, they played well. They were clean. No turnovers. Played with confidence, decisive with the ball, understanding where they wanted to go with the football, and knowing, okay, if this is cover 3, these are my strengths and weaknesses. If this is cover 4, this is where I can attack them at. Cover 1, this is how I can attack them. Pressure, where's my outlet? I thought both of those dudes did an excellent job of just managing the offense, keeping it on schedule, and both of them were able to produce scoring drives, right? We talked about Skylar Thompson orchestrating 3 scoring drives, and then obviously Mason Rudolph putting together his scoring drive on the opening one. To me, that was good to see because we've talked about it, man. With our offenses of the past, we haven't just scored on opening drives routinely. So it was good that our first in-season look at the 2025 Steelers, preseason or not, they did at least show us that they are capable of it. All right. So I like that. Also, they gave us 31 points, but that's for another day, right? But to me, I look at those things and I say, okay, confidence, man, getting rid of the ball on time. O-line, protecting these dudes, right? We'll get to them too. But to me, Mason and Skylar, I thought both did good jobs of looking like they weren't rookies, looking like that wasn't their first time in NFL stadiums. And that's what you want to see. That's part of why we liked Mason Rudolph in terms of, you know, before he left to go to Tennessee, we were like, you know, this is a guy that we were strongly considering keeping here. And now to see him back, it makes me feel at least reassured that, all right, it hasn't forgotten how to do that. The play action pass, the deep arm, you know what I mean? Like that part still was showing and it looked good. So I like that. And then with Skylar Thompson, like I said, this is a dude that started in a playoff game before. So we're not saying that he's perfect, but there is still a certain level of comfort that comes with that. And I think it's going to be interesting how Will Howard works his way back into the conversation, because I do feel like with those two dudes performing the way that they did in stadium, in my eyes, that gave them another step in the right direction in terms of them trying to be QB 2 or 3, just based off of taking it into the NFL stadium, right? It's one thing to do it in practice, one thing to do it in, you know, OTAs, another thing to do it when them lights are shining, man. You're going against teams that aren't familiar with you, that, you know, players that aren't familiar with you, a team that isn't your team. I think all of that, you know, matters. All of that gives you impact. So to me, I was impressed by that. As a whole, though, man, on offense, I still have to say, man, outside of the quarterbacks, I was most impressed personally with the offensive line. That's the group that's been the most under fire these past couple of years. That's the group that even this preseason training camp wise, right? The Broderick Jones reports, right? That was the guy that, to me, I had my eyes on, and knowing that they were going to play Jacksonville, some of their starters, it also had me kind of excited, as we talked about. Let's see what that looks like in stadium, because Broderick doesn't have to block Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt, Jack Sawyer, Nick Herbig in season every week. You don't have to do that. So it's a little bit different. And I don't know how y'all felt, but I thought my man did good. The one sack that was given, it wasn't even on him. And it was low-key a coverage sack. I was like, yo, Mason, get rid of the ball, man. You got time. Nobody's open. All right, it is what it is. But to me, that's a step in the right direction. Broderick and Troy, two young guys that we haven't seen consistently in stadium, showed up, looked good. Small sample size, yes. But like I said, man, you're taking this journey, right? We're trying to go from the top of the country all the way down to the bottom of the country. And we don't have a teleportation machine. We can just get there overnight. It takes time. So every victory matters. Every time that we get a chance to evaluate, every time we get a chance to see if these guys are going to play well or not, it matters. So the same way, if these dudes would have came out here and got whooped up on, or if Broderick would have came out here and gave up 2-3 sacks and everybody would be in here talking about how bad he is, let's also make sure that we acknowledge the fact that he did play well, acknowledge the fact that he did do some positive things out there. And yeah, let's see if he can replicate that next week, man. But that definitely stood out, man. And then, of course, can we talk Mount Washington? Gotta talk Darnell. Gotta talk Darnell. I mean, it's only been, 2 years now. Finally get my man to rock. I like to see it, right? But no, he looked good though, man. Obviously wanted more opportunities for him last year in terms of throwing it to him, specifically in the red zone because of his athleticism, his height, and how he profiles. It's good to see this year that at least from Mason's perspective, that's a guy that he was targeting. And that was one of his early reads in the thing too, man. But I like it though, man. Good job by Mason, number one, holding off the safety in terms of looking front side. That opens up the backside for that, seam route by Darnell. And I mean, beautiful throwing catch. Shout out to Darnell dunking that joint. Now, granted, you shouldn't dunk it because they fine you for that. That's not cool. But at the same time, it was pretty daggone dope for you to dunk it. It felt real old school to see a guy go up there and yam it one time. I was like, okay, all right. I remember what that used to be like. Back when old Washed Moats was playing, you could dunk the ball and it was cool. Blame Jimmy Graham because he kept leaving the goalpost crooked. And then after that, man, they went ahead and banned that thing, right? But it was good to see Darnell Washington out there, man. To me, I'm like, that's a weapon. We know obviously Aaron Rodgers has been trying to build a rapport with Darnell Washington this offseason and this preseason, or at least training camp wise. But to me, I'm like, that's the guy that y'all need to be focusing on. That's the guy that you guys need to be, having certain packages where we're saying we're targeting him here. This is by design. We want to highlight his mismatch because he is a mismatch. Whether you're putting a safety on him, a linebacker on him, if we can ever catch him with the D lineman dropping in coverage on him, oh my goodness, right? Now we're cooking with grease. But to me, that's one of those ones that, man, when you're getting into that high red zone, man, 25 yards and in to the end zone, that's the guy that needs to be, circled up a little bit more. And like I said, it was just really good to see that on the opening possession of the 2025 season, preseason wise, at least, that was one of those calls, man. Because when we're talking first 15, we're talking all these little indicators. These are all things that lets me know, okay, when Arthur Smith went to sleep and he came up with this plays, he wanted to call an open and drop. That was one of them. So at least it's in his mind. He's thinking of them. So I like that also, man. A couple of the receivers, though, that I thought played well, man, stood out. Brandon Johnson, excuse me, on that one. I thought that he looked good, man. Nice size on him also. Max Hurleman, obviously, man, we know he started to make some plays in the second quarter. Him and Skylar Thompson, nice little rapport. But Roman Wilson, man, that's the one for me, man. I liked, like I said, man, early on, just playing with confidence. Young players like him, man, specifically, who don't have a lot of experience, but we do have higher expectations for them. I am looking at those dudes like, yo, how quickly can you get up to speed? And it was just, once again, refreshing to see Roman just playing fast. We'll get into, what you can improve upon, the details of creating separation and things like that. But, man, just play fast. Get in the stadium and look like you're not afraid to be out there with the guys, man. Because we can correct everything else. We can teach you the other stuff. But we need to see that you're willing and you're not afraid to go out there and, like I said, just play your best. I thought that he did that, man. And like I said, man, he has some production. Like I said, the first play, though, man, the deep end, I like that right there. I'm like, yo, salute to you. Let's go. You talk about your first snap. That's the play that you do. Like, yeah, welcome to the NFL. Let's do it, man. Let these people know that you belong here. And that's the thing I was excited to see with Roman also. Now, in terms of young Caleb Johnson, mixed reviews. Thought that pass blocking, he did really well. Thought he ran the ball decent. Would have liked to see him be able to keep his legs a little bit more, but it was his first NFL game also, man. I'm sure those nerves, those jitters, it happens. It affects everybody. So I want to see what he looks like in game 2. We obviously know he had to drop as well, man, but all of that stuff to me, I associate with, man, first game in. It hits a little bit different. Regardless of who you are, it happens. But to me, I still thought that he did have a positive showing. Now, Trey Sermon, the other back, I thought that he looked really good. But think about it. Trey is also a dude that's been in the NFL before. He spent some time with, I want to say, Indianapolis last year, and it looked like that, man. You could just see how decisive, how he's running behind his pads, and how confident he looked. Whereas with Caleb early on, it was almost like he was looking for it a little bit versus just playing and letting it happen and just feeling it. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like I said, with younger dudes, you got to go through that a little bit, man. So I'm excited to see how he comes back next week, man. But I will say, last thing before I get to the defense as a whole, just sticking with the rookies, right? The younger dudes. When we take it over here to that defense side of the ball, I like what I was seeing from Jack Sawyer, man. He was flashing. Now, granted, like I said, man, we don't know what that Jacksonville O-line is all the way just yet, but we do know some of their starters Trevor Lawrence and starters were out there. But I thought Jack Sawyer, man, he had a good burst, man. Good get off. And one of the things that I do want to see from him is just finishing the rushes, man. Finishing his rush. I thought he did a really good job. He had one particular play. I want to say Trevor Lawrence was stepping in the pocket, getting ready to scramble, and he ends up retracing, man, after a nice, get off and rush. Ends up tackling him for, I think it was like a 2-yard gain. But those are the type of plays that turn into sacks, man, because you're going to get that feel for when to counter sooner, right? And it happens, but it's a fielding. You just got to be out there more and more. And for him, man, I could definitely see where, his athleticism, his motor, and his skill, like that was the other part, the hand usage. It's a reason why, he was so productive at Ohio State. And there's a reason why we're so optimistic and hype on him. But to me, I thought that he looked good out there in terms of just flashing. YA Black, my man was moving people on the interior part of that D-line also. I liked that with him. With Derek Harmon, man, it was a little bit of a quieter evening in terms of, he kind of got some of that double team action a little bit more than, he probably would have liked. But to me, man, that's one of those dudes where I'm like, all right, let's get back to next week. I want to see what you look like when, you got a different matchup, or they might block you differently, because we know interior of the D-line, man, is touch and go at times in preseason in terms of blocking schemes and matchups we don't know because they ain't scheming it. So it just happens like that. But as a whole, though, I thought that all of the younger players, man, that did participate draft pick wise or even undrafted dudes, I thought that they did show some positive stuff on tape. Now, in terms of defense, man, as a whole, some of the dudes that stood out, I was hyped to see Peyton Wilson, man. I thought Peyton Wilson did a heck of a job, man, in terms of just flying around, being sideline to sideline. He had the slam, right? Whenever you slam somebody in a game, I get hype. I get excited about that. Shout out to the slam taking place by Peyton Wilson, man. It was really refreshing to see just some old school, Steelers ball taking place, man. And we also had my 5-5 get back out there in Cole Holcomb, man. That was also refreshing to see, man. Except with both of those dudes, just getting back out there, man, playing fast, sideline to sideline. Obviously, both of those dudes had plays of production, both in the run game, but also in the pass game. We saw Cole Holcomb had a nice PBU. I want to say it was on that 3rd down or whatever. But to me, man, I'm like, Cole, you look good again, man. You don't look like you have anything lingering from, the knee injury that he sustained over a year ago. Change of direction looked good. The burst looked good. The confidence, more importantly, looked good, because anybody that has experienced, injuries, and specifically some of those catastrophic or more serious, significant lower extremity injuries, man, mentally, that's some of the bigger challenges, man, when you get back, because you're just so fearful of it happening again. And obviously, we know when Cole got hurt, it was very freak accident type, right? The dude literally whipping his leg after making a tackle gets him, right? But to me, man, seeing Cole back out there running around the way that he was, playing fast the way that he was, that to me, man, is super promising. And like I said, if that is added depth in our linebacker room, now we're talking about having, guys that are going to be able to dominate throughout the season, regardless of who's available. Because we know, man, at times the starting group could be fired, but then by week 4, week 6, an injury happens, and now we're looking at the group and we're like, yo, how did we get here? But when you look at this group and the depth that they have right now, at least from what they've shown in one game, that is some of the things that should make us feel a little bit more, at peace with that group. Because, yeah, injury could happen. But, hey, man, if you got Cole Holcomb coming in, Malik Harrison coming in, dudes that have been in stadiums, have starts, have production, you just feel a lot better about the depth there than, we experienced a couple of years ago when we was signing dudes right off the street and just like, yo, man, go out here and start real quick for us, man, and please save us. Pretty please, right? This at least gives me confidence that we shouldn't have to get to that, portion of desperation again, man. But Peyton Wilson, man, he looked like he's ready to take that year two leap. And another side note, right? He had the green dot on. That green dot, that's quarterback of the defense. That's a major step, man. In terms of just the team, the coordinator, Terrell Austin, trusting Peyton, because it's not easy. When you put that green dot on, man, you no longer have time to breathe. You no longer have time to think for yourself, because everybody wants information. What is the call? What's the call? Bro, I'm trying to catch bro. I don't care about your bro. What's the call? Right? Hey, what's the check? What'd you get right here? What did he say? He say anything else? Coach, you want me to tell him what? Coach, I ain't got time to tell him this after I tell him to call. I'm trying to catch my breath, baby. So that part, along with it being the first preseason game as well, I thought was impressive, man. I thought that it showed that Peyton, number one, was ready to take a leadership role, but number two, from a conditioning standpoint, he's where he needs to be early on, which is also promising, man. Lets me know that my man had a good offseason. So like I said, super excited about Peyton Wilson, man. Everything that I've been seeing from him, man, I'm loving it. All right, stay healthy. You know, that's my whole deal with him. Stay healthy, man, because I think sky's the limit with him in terms of just the physical characteristics that he possesses. And it was kind of on display in that game. Like I said, you've seen Suplex City. It ain't a game. All right, you've seen what he did to him. But talk about the secondary too, man. Specifically in the secondary, the corners, man. Beanie Bishop, Brandon Echols. I thought that they both flashed. I thought they both made some good plays. Brandon Echols, I thought that his production, specifically on his PBU that he had his little cover three buzzing out under the wide receiver number one. I thought that man, his ability to get out there and get up. I didn't know he was going to actually get two hands on the football. I'm like, bro, you almost picked that joint. To me, that was cool because we also saw him tackling as well. We saw him not afraid to thump a little bit, right? Those are the things that you want to see, man, when you're talking about cornerback 4 or even your potential third guy, depending on how we want to, utilize Darius Slade, Jalen Ramsey, and company. To me, though, it was like, yo, these dudes right here, yeah. Like, but once again, though, when we're talking Brandon Echols, not his first time in NFL Stadium. This is a dude that has starts under his belt. This is a guy that was starting in New York, just a year ago, right? Having opportunities over there in the slot. So that looked like veteran. Beanie Bishop also had production as well. The thing that I would say I liked about Beanie was this: it wasn't always perfect in the sense of him being all the way in phase right now. But what I did love was his finish. You saw two specific plays, man, where his finish was the reason why the incompletions happened. One was a wheel route near our sideline on third down, I want to say. Quarterback puts air up under it. Beanie chases, closes to his man, and then once he's able to put elbow on man, gets his head around, PBU. It's textbook. You're not always going to be in perfect position, but that's the beauty of defense, man. Them offensive guys better be perfect, because if not, through effort, through finish, you can still impact the play. And we saw that, like I said, on multiple Beanie Bishop PBUs. And I think that was also, I thought that showed, but also his ability to finish plays showed. Now, he did get the bad end of one of them little run plays. He tackled him, but shit, he was nailed a little bit, man. But I was like, yo, Beanie, he got down. That's all that matters, Beanie. That's all that matters, Beanie. You get the man down, all right? But that's what I'm liking right now, though, man. I think that's a spicy little competition that we got going on. Obviously, Dante Kent is another guy to pay attention with that. He didn't play due to the injury that he's been, battling with in training camp. But to me, man, that corner 4, right? Because we obviously know, man, we say JPJ, Darius Slade, Jalen Ramsey, those are the big 3, right? But that fourth corner, that dime guy, you're looking at Beanie, you're looking at Brandon Echols, you're looking at maybe Dante Kent, you're looking at those type of dudes, man, as maybe that guy. And to me, man, I thought both Brandon and Beanie played well in their, in stadium opportunity this year. Safety play I thought was good, man. Juan Thornhill, he's a hitter. But we told you that. He'll hit you, man. He'll hit you. He ain't afraid. Dude will play. Health is his big knock. When he's healthy, he looks like what you saw. Flying around, arriving with bad intentions, athletic, rangy, right? We like that. But like I said, man, availability is the big thing with him. But like I said, man, with those dudes, man, when you're talking about guys that have been in the league for 5-6 years, it should look like they are playing a little bit faster when they're out there in these preseason games. They should, in the words of Coach Tomlin, look like the 10th grade varsity player that plays JV also, on the night before, the game before. Like, that's what it looked like at times. And to me, man, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you're above that level, make it look like you're above that level. Make the production show, make it flash. And I thought that was what we got from some of those second or not second year guys, but some of those more varsity players that were out there. We got a chance to kind of see them look like they, have done this before. So, like I said, definitely like that, man. Definitely a fan of that, what I was seeing from those dudes. And the last thing that I will say, man, before we tap in, because I do see a couple of supers that have popped up as well, man. And obviously, man, we got the homie TG going to tap in with him around 5 o'clock. But one other thing I did want to talk about. Where was it? Oh, where are you? Oh, nope, already got it there. All good. I got to go check my notes. I was like, nope, got Derek Harmon in there. I didn't forget him. I talked about Harmon. So we're good on that one there, man. All right. So yeah, like I said, man, definitely was liking that. But now I remember the last thing I was going to talk about. Drop it in the comment section. How y'all felt when y'all seen that man from Jacksonville hit that 70-yard field goal, bro? Like, I've never seen 70-yard field goal center cut and hit net. Like, I know we're going to talk. I know we're going to react to these questions, these comments. I know y'all got a lot, that we're going to talk about. I see the super chats coming in, but 70 yards, bro. Like, did y'all have to go back and re-look to say, yo, was it really 70 yards? Because, like, me personally, we was all in the kitchen. Me, wifey, the kids. The thing happened. We was like, what? To the point, man, we rewinded back. I was like, I didn't want to believe it. Little man G, he's looking. He's like, pause TV, Dad. He's my analytical baby. He's like, yo, what yard line was he kicked on? We started counting. Like, hey, bro, that's 70 on it, man. Like, kind of nuts, man. Kind of nuts. Yeah, let me see what's okay. Yeah. So Tom J said he's seen it live. It was kind of crazy. Yeah, Micah, 70 yards is absolutely nuts, man. Definitely. Oh, I'm with you on that one. Too hectic. Wasn't mad about it. Definitely can't trip on it. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I was like, it had to be against. And yes, Leah, of course, right? Anytime you're gonna get something like that happening, of course it would be against us, man. But I was pretty cool. I was like, hey, man, all right, let's do this. Like, this dude really has 70 yards when it's like, bruh, 70? It sucks it was in the preseason because like they ain't gonna count it all the way. But I'm like, yo, 70-yard field goal is insane, man. Insane. And most definitely, where are you, Ed? Right here. Yeah, man. He says the 70-yard field goal means Madden gonna have to update some things. I'm with you, Extra Black. Faux show. And we do know that Madden did drop over the weekend as well, man. Hopefully y'all have had a chance to tap in with that. And we talked about the Madden giveaway codes that we had, man. For Madden 2026 for Xbox and for PlayStation, man. We're doing those giveaways and the codes on the Instagram channel, right? At the Arthur Moats Experience. So make sure y'all tap into that if y'all haven't. But yeah, man, 70 yards. I was just like, bro, I remember when Justin Tucker hit his, record-breaking field goal in Detroit and hit the crossbar. And we're like, yeah, but hit the crossbar. Or back when, what was it? Jason Elam, I think it was, man, when he hit the 63-yard record back in Denver. And we're like, bro, you in Denver, man. Like, ass a little thin up there. Hit a little different. This was in Jacksonville, bro. He's in Florida. It's like, bruh. It's a bad dude, man. For sure a bad dude. But I'm glad we took care of business, man. So it's like, yeah, we can appreciate them hitting the field goal, having one of those cool moments. But as a whole, yeah, as long as we leaving up out there with the dub, that's all I cared about, man. All right. But yeah, man, insane. But yeah, let's tap in though, because I do see some supers that also popped in. So let's do that. And of course, man, if y'all are enjoying what we are on today, man, hit the like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel.